Thanks, Deputy Speaker. Not only did many of the people in this place, including me, get their university degrees for free, they also had far better prospects for buying their own home, starting a family and living a good life. Went to uni to try to get a good job? Well, as punishment, you've got a HECS debt that's growing faster than you can pay it off because of indexation. Last year, the indexation rate was 7.1%. That's almost double what it was the year before and almost 10 times the amount it was in 2021. It's more than a standard mortgage interest rate. Let's look at that in numbers. If you have a debt of $40,000, that's almost $3,000 for indexation in 1 year. If you earn less than $62,000 a year, you wouldn't have even made a dent in your debts. In fact, you'll have more debt now than when you finished your degree. Student debt rose $4.5 billion last year, and instead of offering any relief, what did the government do instead? Well, shocker, they gave gas corporations, who make a collective $164 billion in profit, billions of dollars in tax handouts. Australia collects more in HECS than it does in taxing fossil fuel resources. Instead of tax breaks and subsidies for coal and gas corporations, they should wipe HECS debt and make Tafe and University free to fund things that let people live a good life, like putting dental and mental health into Medicare. And what about the rort students experience when they're doing their degrees? They pay thousands of dollars and get stung by the indexation rate every year on their HECS debt, while also paying for the pleasure of doing free labour for hundreds of hours across their degrees. For Australia to thrive, we need teachers, doctors, nurses, social workers, midwives, early childhood educators. But young people are turning away from these important professions. Nursing enrolments have dropped by almost 30%, teaching by almost 20%, and it's no surprise that people are looking elsewhere or leaving these degrees. Unpaid placements are crushing students. They endure long hours, weeks without pay, no appreciation. Some even have to pay out of pocket to get a placement. Young people are having to choose between attending placement or paying their rent. Some are working 12-hour days for free, not eating because they only had enough money for the bus fare that day, and youth allowance doesn't even cover the cost of rent in any capital city in Australia. So students are having to move back home or work dangerously long hours to keep a roof over their heads, and the government does nothing to relieve the pressure crushing young people. Just today, The Guardian reports on a generation left behind. In their words, and I quote, "With rising house prices, a decade of wage stagnations and ballooning student debt, young people are living through what The Guardian describes as a series of broken promises," and reports on how millennials have become the first generation to be worse off than their parents. Shame. Is this really the Australia we want? It doesn't have to be this way, and it's up to the government to fix it. They could be getting rid of negative gearing and capital gains tax, making buying a house or renting more affordable. They could break up the supermarket duopolies, wipe student debt, and tax the coal and gas companies that are burning up our future. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.